Hello dear students, welcome to my English language class. Today's first lesson is the grammar one and it's going to be about the simple present tense. What I'm going to show you in this video is how to form a present simple and when to use a present simple. But before we start, it is very good to know that the first person singular means I, the second person singular means you, and the third person singular means he, she, and it. Whereas the first person plural means we, the second person plural means you, and the third person plural means they. These are the pronouns. Now let's have a look at these sentences. I walk to school every day. They play football on Sunday. Of course, they are in the present simple tense. How to form a present simple? First and second person singular forms, which are I and you, the pronouns I and you, the form is subject plus main verb. Example, I swim in the river. I is the pronoun, swim is the main verb. You read the newspaper. Of course, you is the subject, which is the pronoun, and read is the verb. And here we use the main verb because it is a first and second person singular, so we cannot add s to the verb. Now regarding all plural forms, and we mean by that the pronouns we, you, they. Also, the same thing, the form of the sentence is subject plus main verb. We don't add anything to the verb, we just keep it as it is. Example, we walk to school. We is the pronoun and walk stays as it is. You ride your bike. They study English. So in these three sentences, the pronouns are plural, so we do not add anything to the verb, we just keep it in its base form. How to form a present simple in the third singular form with he, she, and it. Here the sentence structure changes a little bit and the form is subject plus main verb plus s. We add s to the verb while using the pronouns he, she, and it. Example, he walks home. He is the pronoun, it's singular, and walks is the verb, we add s. She plays hockey as well. It rains on Christmas Day. So in these three sentences, the pronouns are he, she, and it, and they are singular pronouns, so we add s to the main verb. Now regarding to some exceptions in this lesson, verbs ending in the sounds s, ch, sh, x, or z. Okay, so we have some exceptional cases here because we don't add only s to the verb, we add es. Example here, miss, watch, brush, fix. And the form becomes as subject plus main verb plus es to the verb. Example, he misses his children. He is a singular pronoun and misses ends with s, so we add es, not only s. She teaches English. She as well is a singular pronoun and teaches ends in ch, so we add es to the verb. Also, another exceptional case regarding the third person singular form he, she, and it, with verbs ending in y preceded by a consonant like fly, spy, worry. Here in this case, the y becomes ie and then we add s to that. Example, he spies on his neighbors. So spy used to end with y, but because we are using it with the pronoun he, which is singular, we change the y into ie and then we add s. Another example, it worries me a lot. Also, it is a singular pronoun, so we have to add s to the verb, but because the verb is worry and it ends with y, we change y into ie and add s. And please remember that once you want to change the y into ie, you have to look before the y. If it it is preceded by a consonant, then we change it. Okay? If it is not preceded by a consonant, we don't change it into IE. And here, spy ends with Y, and before the Y there is a P, which is a consonant, and worry, before the Y there is an R, which is also a consonant. So we change the Y into IE, and then we add S. Okay, now the present simple in questions. We call it interrogative form. With the first and second person singular form, and we mean by that with I and you pronouns, okay? The form of the sentence is do. We start the sentence with an auxiliary verb, which is do, plus subject plus main verb in base form. We keep the verb as it is while using it in the interrogative form. Example, do I need a ticket? The question form starts with an auxiliary verb, which is do, and I use do because I have a pronoun I, which is the first person singular, and the verb stays as it is in its base form, which is need. So, do I need a ticket? Another example, do you speak English? As well, you is a second person singular, so I use do with that, and I put do at the beginning of the sentence, and the verb speak stays as it is. And don't forget to end the sentence, the interrogative form of the sentence, with a question mark. Also, with all plural forms, we, you, and they, the other pronouns, okay, the same form and structure of a sentence in the interrogative form. Do plus subject plus main verb in base form. Example, do we make the beds ourselves? Also, we is a plural form, so we use do with that, and we put do at the beginning of the sentence. And the verb make stays as it is. Do you ride your bicycle? As well, with you, I just use do and keep the base form of the verb. Do they work on the farm? The same example here with they, because it's a plural pronoun. Now here the structure changes because we're using the interrogative form, the question form of the sentence, with the third person singular, with he, she, and it. With these three pronouns, because they are singular, okay, we do not use do, we use does instead. And of course, we start the sentence with the auxiliary verb, which is does. So does plus subject plus main verb in its base form. Example, does he ride his bike often? So he is a singular pronoun, which is the subject. So I start the interrogative form of the sentence with the auxiliary verb does. And ride, which is the verb, stays as it is in its base form. Another example, does she cut your hair? And does it work on batteries? So these three sentences actually are using the pronouns he, she, and it, and they are singular pronouns, so I have to use the auxiliary verb does. And with the interrogative form, I put the auxiliary verb at the beginning of the sentence, then the subject, then the main verb in its base form, and don't forget to end the sentence with a question mark. Okay, now regarding the present simple in the negative form, and we mean by negative that we add not to the auxiliary verb. And as we said before, that the auxiliary verbs are do and does. Do we use it with the plural pronouns, and does we use it with the singular pronouns. So the form of the negative sentence is subject plus don't or doesn't plus main verb in its base form. As well, we keep the verb as it is. Example, I don't need coffee. So here I use don't because the subject at the beginning is I, and I is a first person, so I use do with that. And because it's a negative form, I add not to the auxiliary verb. We don't walk to school. As well, we is a plural pronoun, so I just keep it do and add not. They don't listen to the radio, same thing. Now with he, she, it, the last three sentences, I use doesn't. He doesn't clean the house. She doesn't cut her hair. It doesn't work on batteries. And here, because the three subjects or pronouns are singular, so I use does plus not in the negative form. So after knowing the form of the simple present tense, now let's have a look at the present simple use. When do we use the simple present tense? Actually, we use it to express a habitual or regular action. And we mean by that that's an action happening all the time, happening sometimes, happening always, often, usually. And these words that I just said, okay, we call them adverbs of frequency. Let's have a look at them. So the adverbs of frequency are always, often, usually, sometimes, rarely, never. With these words, and these are keywords actually, they use them in a sentence to make sure that the student knows that this sentence is a habitual or regular action. Let's have a look at the examples. I play football every Saturday. So this action is happening every Saturday. Okay, so every Saturday is the keyword, which is actually an adverb of frequency. So this is a regular action because it's happening every Saturday. He often visits his aunt as well. Often is the adverb of frequency, and this is a habitual action. They never work on Sundays. Same thing. Now the second use is to express fact or opinion. As you know that the fact is something known, it's something true, okay? And the plants need water. Okay, we all know that plants need water, and this is a fact, this is something true. Okay, so with this sentence I can't actually use any other tense. I have to use the simple present tense because it's a fact. Now regarding the second sentence or example, the jacket looks great. It is an opinion. And why it's an opinion? Because in my opinion the jacket looks great. Maybe in someone else's opinion it doesn't look great. Okay, so here with the opinion form of the sentence I use the simple present tense as well. The jacket looks. The other use and the third use of the present simple tense to express a scheduled action. And we mean by schedule, it is a timing, everything related to timings. Okay, we use the simple present tense with this form. Example, the bus leaves at 6 o'clock, the flight arrives at gate 3. So mostly with scheduled actions we use some specific verbs, and the verbs are like leaves, arrives, departs, takes off. Okay, so these verbs actually let us know that this is a scheduled action, plus we might have some keywords or hints like 6 o'clock, gate 3, at 8 p.m, whatever. Okay, so any timing in a sentence is called a scheduled action, and we use the simple present tense with this type of a sentence. Now note that a frequency adverb always comes before the main verb. So the frequency adverbs like always, often, usually, sometimes, we have to put these verbs or adverbs, sorry, before the main verb, not after it. For example, he often visits his aunt, the example I put above. Okay, he often visits his aunt. I cannot say he visits his aunt often or he visits often his aunt. No, I have to put the adverb of frequency before the main verb. Okay, so this is the lesson for today. Hope you understand it very well, and please write down on your notebooks the rules that I explained, and thank you very much for your attention.